Off the back of a massive win in round 3 up in Queensland against the Cowboys, this week we got the Warriors up against the Bulldogs, live from Mt Smart. Let's go. Welcome back to the Warriorholic. Time for a detailed preview. Warriors against the Bulldogs, live this weekend, Mt Smart, first home game. Let's see what the two sides line up like. So over the years we played 37 times, 17 wins to us, 18 wins to them and 2 draws, so pretty even in the overall head-to-head over the years. In recent times though, 2022 and 2021, we're looking at 24-10 to us in 21 and 42-18 to us in 22. So we've got the recent history behind us, but we all know both sides have had a lot of changes over the past 18 months, so probably recent history is not really a clear reflection, get it right, on what we're likely to expect this time round. But let's have a look at a bit of the form, which is probably a better indication over the first 3 rounds. So as we know, we beat the Knights 20-12 in round 1, then went down 20-12 to the Roosters in round 2. Last week, 26-12 over the Cowboys. So it looks like we like to have the 12s in our scores. So hopefully this week it's going to be something like 30-12 to us. Round 1, Bulldogs got spanked there by the Seagulls, 31-6. Managed to beat the Storm, 26-12, another 12 in there. And last week, to be honest, they were pretty lucky to scrape home against the Tigers, 26-22. Tigers put on a massive late run there. Could have easily lost that. I won't get into that too much. I'll get into the how last week looked after I go through a bit of a team summary here. First up, a bit of a look at the form of the teams as far as stats go this season. Tackle efficiency 89.7 for us, 87.9 for them. Pretty hard to differentiate there. Average points scored, both 19. Average points conceded, 14 for us and 21 for them. Bit of a tick for us there. Points for and against, 58 for, 44 against for us. We're in the positives. 58 for and 65 against, so we win that one. Hopefully that continues again this weekend. Completion rates, 81 for us, 74. So if we look at recent history, look at the team stats, there's not a huge amount in it. It may well reflect how we go on the weekend. Right, let's take a bit of a look at how the two teams line up. Few key ins and outs for us there. Welcome back Charles Nickel-Clockstead at the back. Tuolpiki definitely had a good debut last week, but you can't deny the experience of Charles Nickel-Clockstead, so great to have him in there. 79 career games so far this season, 1 try, 2 line breaks, average of 159 metres per game and 100% tackle efficiency rate. So that's only 2 games for him, but that's some pretty solid stats coming up against Hayes Perham, ex-Warrior. Only 19 games into his season, 1 try, no line breaks, 179 metres actually, a bit more than Chance. 85% tackle efficiency rate. So, if you're going to compare the 2 fullbacks, you've got to pretty much give it to Chance. I think Perham has had a pretty good start to the season, and I think a lot of people were probably surprised that he ended up being the starting fullback there at the Bulldogs, but, on experience alone, back home for his first game at Mt Smart, I'm giving this one to Chance. Next up at number 2, so these guys won't actually be going head-to-head, they'll be on opposite sides, but we've got Kossie there, 19 games in. So far this season, 2 tries, 4 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, average 120 metres. Tackle efficiency is 60%, that's much lower than I was expecting. Up against a bit of a surprise for me when it comes to the stats here, Jacob Carraz. He's only 18 games in, so basically the same experience, but 2 tries, 21 tackle breaks. That's pretty good. 2 line breaks, an average of 224 metres, the most out of anyone in either team, with a tackle efficiency of 87. So, you're comparing those two, De Cossie's going to have a pretty good game. One thing I'll note as we go through these stats, both sides do have some pretty sort of up and down tackling efficiency. But I think one thing that probably masked it for us is our scrambling and our cover. I don't think you really notice that we've missed as many tackles as we have. So with a bit of luck there, Kossie will pair up with his partners there and cover up the gaps because he's going to be up against the Fox. So just purely on the numbers, you've got to give that one to Carraz. Centres, Viliami Vaila, 13 games in, 2 tries, 2 tackle breaks, 147 metres. Is pretty good on average there, but he's only played the 1 game. Efficiency of 67. Actually, I don't know if he has got 2 tries. I think I might have doubled up on that stat there. I think he's only got the 1. Tackle efficiency of 67. So again, not great. Looking at him and Cossie there. Going up against Jake Averillo. He's been in there for 57 games, so starting to build up a bit of experience. 2 tries, 4 tackle breaks, an average of 118 metres. His tackle efficiency is only 70%, so not so much difference there. Pretty even matchup for me. You want to hope that Viliami getting a 2nd run in a row here. Bit of consistent game time and building up those partnerships. I'd like to see a bit more from him. I don't think he looked out of place last week, but in the game I saw him play for New South Wales Cup, he's a little bit quiet, so I'd really like to see him step up, but we're going to call out a pretty much 50-50 there. Next on we've got Pompey versus Paul Alamotti. So he's another young fella just coming in, so this is an interesting matchup. So Pompey, 56 career games now, getting up there. 1 try so far this season, 4 tackle breaks, 99 metres. I think last week we saw a step up in that stat. He was up and around 180, I think, this past week. So hope we see a repeat of that and the post-contact metres. Tackling efficiency of 85, so he's one of the better out of the back 4 so far. So Alamotti, he's been a bit of a surprise for the Bulldogs. Only 3 games in, 19 years old. Hasn't got any tries, but he's got 5 tackle breaks. Some great efforts there to link up with the Fox on the weekend there against the Tigers. Got a bit of an incept. Doesn't seem the fastest. Seems like he's going to get run down when he got that breakaway and had to flick it off to the Fox. But he showed some pretty good signs where he was managed to put the Fox away in another situation here, in a bit more of a crowded situation. Drew the guy well and passed it back inside there. So he's definitely one to watch. You know, Pompey's solid on D. This young fella's got the flair. Could be a pretty even matchup. Again, though they probably won't be matching, actually going directly. Just both number 4. So it'll be Viliami against Alamotti. Viliami's going to have to play well to match that one. And then Averillo against Pompey. I think that'll be a pretty even matchup. So, sure I'm confusing the shit out of everyone here, but apologies for that. Just going by the numbers that we've got on the team list here. Next up, my man Montoya. 93 games in now. 2 tries, 10 tackle breaks. Best out of our backs. Average of 204 metres and a tackle efficiency of 80. So that's pretty good. I just think he's been a man of steel for us now. Brandy calls him the man of granite. Destroying people with the way he runs the ball. So hopefully we'll see a bit of a repeat from that. I anticipate he's going to handle Carraz all right. Probably better than if we had Cossie up against him. That said, on the other side, we've got Josh Adokar, 153 games in, 3 tries this season, 2 of them coming last weekend, 17 tackle breaks, 123 average metres and a tackle efficiency of 80. Give him some space and agility, without agility and he'll be gone. So I think it's going to take a real good effort to team up on him, and he's out on the edge here with Kickow. So hopefully the boys have got a bit of a game plan there, but if we let him have the space, he could run all over us. So, him against Cossie, I'm giving that to him every day. And I'm going to give Montoya the edge over Carraz. So just purely on the fact I love the fella. In the halves, we've got Martin up against Burton. So 2 quite different players. Martin is 71 games in, no tries so far. 2 try assists, 5 line break assists, 22 metres only kicking. Average running metres of 65 and a tackle efficiency here of 94. So I think he's been one of our key linchpins on defence with a lot of cover tackles. I think he coordinates his side of the defence there, which is going to be vital this week. He might have to take old Kickow on head on a few times there, but I think he's more than up to it. On the other side, you've got Matt Burden, 59 games in, 1 try from the weekend actually. No try assists, 1 line break, but an average of 340, or a total of 347 kicking metres. And I think that's his average, sorry. I was quite surprised, actually. They're in a similar situation where he does pretty much all the kicking and very little done by Flanagan. Average running 71 metres and a tackle efficiency of 79. You know, he's a big body, very different type of player. I think he's much more sort of vital to the attack of the Bulldogs, whereas Te Martin, I think he's a real sort of defensive coordinator. It's his little subtleties that's putting other guys away rather than coordinating our attack. So I'm going to call that one a 50-50. You know, we've got to put pressure on Burton's kicking games. We don't want to get too many of those floating bombs up in the old wind we no doubt have there at Mt Smart. We allow him to dominate, get front football to kick off. Chance is going to have a nightmare. He'll be putting it up to Kossi, I would say, quite a bit over there. He might have the height, and he's done quite well in the past couple of games. But yeah, we wouldn't want too many of those big floaters if he's got time to put them up. Then we get to the halfbacks. 230 games, the big SJ, getting up there. No tries so far, 1 try assist, 1 line break, an average of 499 kicking. So he's actually kicking further than Burton, which surprised me, considering the amount of kicking he's doing, the predominant amount of kicking there as well. But I guess his kicks, he's putting up more of the bombs. 46 run meters, tackling efficiency 93%. So SJ gets a bit of stick for his defence, but 93 is up there with one of the best stats out of both backlines. So going up against Flanagan, I think he's still struggling to find his way and really get his confidence. You know, I think they're stupid if they move him on, because he's probably one of those guys that give him another couple of years in the right environment and decent full pack. He could turn into a real quality game controlling halfback, but still under a lot of pressure. A lot of people calling out that he should be moved on. 65 games in now, 0 tries, 0 try assists, 0 line break assists. So not sure exactly what he's doing. A lot of just passing the ball on, I guess, and leaving a lot of the creativity to Burton. His average kicking's only 58. So twice of what Te Martin is, but not great. Only running for 32 metres and a tackle efficiency of 91. So he's a pretty quiet halfback. So with what Johnson's produced last week, I'm going to give it to him. Overall, it's a pretty good matchup, I think, in the backs. If we can get up there and contain the way that Kiraz and Adokar are getting the ball and not give them too much space, I think we'll go all right. They're not too dissimilar from what we saw last week against the Cowboys, and we saw what happened there. So, you know, pretty close call, but I'm going to give it a slight edge to us. All right, now on to the forwards. This one here surprised me a little bit. Adam Fanua-Blake up against Max King. My initial thought is, you know, that Adam Fanua-Blake would probably have much, bigger running and post-contact meters, but it turned out not to be the case. So 136 games for Adam Fanua-Blake, 1 try, 8 tackle breaks, an average of 141 metres, total post-contact metres of 156, average hit-ups per game is 11. Tackle efficiency is bloody good at 97.5%. Now, Max King, I thought he was a bit of a plotter, but I guess, he's always up there in the super coach and the like, so his numbers probably should have been better than I expected. But 77 games, 0 tries, only the 1 tackle break, but he's making 161 metres per game versus 141 for Adam Fanua-Blake, which was kind of surprising. Post-contact metres, 169. So that's, more than Adam Fanua-Blake as well. An average of 13 hit-ups versus 11. 94% tackle efficiency. So, I would have thought that Adam Fanua-Blake would have won that on the stats, but, they're very even. Slight nudge there to King, but I just think, after what he produced last week, I'm expecting a real big effort here. AFB at home. So playing like he's really enjoying it at the moment. So I'm going to give him a slight edge, but it is a very close call. Big loss here for us. Freddie Lussick coming in for Egan. Like Egan, I think he's just continuing to prove his doubters wrong. His ability to control the game, quality and width and speed of his passes, his scrambling on defence and covering that middle there. He's been outstanding, so he's a massive loss for us. Now, there are no stats on Lussick here because he hasn't played first grade this year for this season. He's only 23 games in. I like his speed, his energy. He's capable of putting on some big hits for a guy his size, but he's had a few guys run over him as well in the trials this year. So, he's really going to have to step up there and cover a very, very big hole. Up against the quality 9 in Reed Marnie. 104 games in. I haven't gone into his stats too much detail because I haven't gone into Freddie's, but, experienced, grand final experience last year with the Eels. Plays very, very well on the back of a solid forward pack. Good runner out of dummy half, good deception. So good battle with the young fellas there. I'd love to come out of this game and see that Freddie Lussick has really surprised us all and shown he's a genuine backup for Egan. But heading into the game, you've got to give that to Marnie, purely based on his experience. Next up, Bunty versus Ryan Sutton. Bunty, 111 games now, all for the Warriors. 1 try this season, 5 tackle breaks, only averaging 49 metres per game, with an average of 33 post-contact metres. I've said it before, I don't get how he doesn't make more metres with the effort he runs into the tackle. I'm not sure what his technique is when he hits the line, why he's not able to make more metres. Maybe he's just not, he's expending a little bit much energy getting to the line rather than going through it. But I think he's really going to have to step up that, because once Barnett comes, there's a risk that he could be the one dropping off and Ali stays. So tackle efficiency is 96%, so I'll give him that. He's definitely good on defence there. So he's going to have to really step up and improve what we saw from him. There's only 17 minutes last week. Very disappointing, and I'm not sure why he didn't come back on. Maybe it's a reflection on how he's been seen by the coaches. Ryan Sutton, 78 career games, no tries, only the 4 tackle busts, only 63 metres, post-contact, an average of 63 per game. Total post-contact metres is only 3, tackle efficiency of 96. So he's not actually doing that much more than Bunty, and he's a starter. So pretty even match up there. Hard to call. I don't know enough about Ryan Sutton to really call on him, but I'm going to give it to Bunty purely on expectation that he has to step up in order to maintain his position, but not by much. My man Ford, big in for me. Massive in his first couple of games before he got knocked out. Only 33 games total. Hasn't got any tries yet. He's had the 1 line break, which surprised me. I actually thought he'd had a couple more, but he'd definitely have a few line break assists. Averaging 81 metres. Tackling efficiency is a bit down there at 82. I guess that's a bit of a difference when you're out there on the edges rather in the middle, where you're just taking those guys, setting up one up, whereas he's out there against centres and wings from time to time. So I think he's a very solid player, big guy, good wheels, I've said before, so I'm looking for him to have a big impact coming in. Kickow, mate, what can you say? 126 games in now, back-to-back grand final winner. No tries this year, and only the 1 line break, which surprises me. An average of 83 metres, but I think it's the damage he does with his offloads, drawing players in, making space for those around him. That late step, he's got a big step off the left foot there. We've got to make sure we chase him from the inside there and expect that, tie up that ball as quick as possible. So again, I'm going by the numbers on the jerseys, so Kickow is going to be actually up on Niakora's side, so be interesting to compare their stats. But if you're going head to head on the numbers and experience, as much as I love Ford, but Kickow, he's one of the top 2 or 3 edge back rowers for me in the comp, so he wins that one. Then we've got Niakora, 99 games in, so this is his 100th game this week, bit of a milestone for him. No tries, 5 tackle breaks, 5 tackle breaks and 1 line break. 1 try assist and only 88 metres, but tackle efficiency of 96%. Out on the edge there is really good. I need to see more from him. I really do like him. He just seems quiet in a game. Again, I don't know enough about the game to maybe he's doing dirty work I don't notice, but I'd really like to see him step up against Kickow this week being on the same side there. Same size body, both got wheels. I'd love to see him really dominate Kickow and put a stamp on that position. And show us, the best form that he, showed against the Eels back when he was there. So he's coming up against, on the other side there in the 12, is this guy, Jacob Preston, only 3 games in. Yeah, it looks a bit like a young Sean Lane, not quite as tall, but, lean guy, got the Cherry Evans, big old long neck. 1 try, 2 line breaks, average 110 metres, which is quite good out wide there, and the tackling efficiency of 94%. When I watched them on the weekend, he looks solid. He doesn't look like anything you want to be scared of. Up against Ford there, He'll be on the right and Ford will be on the left there. I expect him, Ford to take that battle, but he seems pretty mobile, pretty quick, got some good footwork, and obviously can break a tackle with his speed. So someone to watch out for, and we don't know a lot about him, but hopefully Ford can dominate that battle for me. Battles of the 13th, one current Warrior against one ex-Warrior. Tohu, 200 games in now. No tries this season. One line break assist, but copious, try assist. Well, setting up like we saw on the weekend there. The little subtle touch to set up to the guy who sets up the try there, like when he inside passed to Adam Fluid Bacon, he set up Egan. So he's definitely involved in the playmaking there. Tackle efficiency at 97.5%. Absolute beast there. Against Raymond Faitala Marina, Māori pronunciation there for the Mariner. 103 games in there. No tries, average 101 metres, tackle efficiency of 97. So purely on stats that they're listing there on NRL.com, they look quite similar, but I think their impact on the game, you can't doubt that Tohu wins that battle with what he's done for our boys so far this season. Fatala Mariner, he's a solid player, very, very solid, but that's as far as I go for him. You've got to give that battle to Tohu quite significantly with the ball playing role he plays. So forward pack to forward pack, I guess it comes down to like last week, who steps up on the day. We've both got guys who make good post contact meters, very similar size and skill set. I want to see 80 minutes up in your face, intense footy, tying up that ball. And if we do that, just like we did at the Cowboys, there's no reason we can't win this forward battle. Interchange here, I think this is going to be one of our strengths all season. As far as impact off the bench, I think most teams at this time of year have got solid benches, but I think we've got some real X factor here. Dylan Walker, 189 games in against Jaden Ockenbaugh. He's 27 games in. Solid player, but just, we saw the speed and intensity. And if we can get him to play a similar role as he did last week, partnering with Jazz in the middle there, I think that he can definitely, Walker wins that as far as added value off the bench. Bailey Sirenen against Corey Waddell. Sirenen's an interesting inclusion. I think there's a bit of conjecture as to whether he may drop off and Curran comes in, or why Curran isn't in there. After being dropped out supposedly for injury last week, yet he goes and plays a massive game in New South Wales Cup. I think he played 80 minutes, had massive minutes. But he stayed off this week. My guess is that I think they've seen the benefit of having Walker and Jazz playing those really fast, high-intensity middle forward roles. So we saw in the second stint when Egan went off in the weekend that Sirenen did go to dummy half, and I thought he held himself all right there with his passing. Probably a little bit crisper than Jazz and Dylan Walker, to be fair. So I get the impression that's why he's taken the bench spot there over Curran. Whereas Curran is basically just a replica of Jazz, I guess, when you put him out there in a high-energy role, either on an edge or the middle. So let's see if that Sirenen holds his position come game day. Up against Waddell, 76 games in. He's making 100 metres on average off the bench. So solid player there. I think he's probably more of a high-impact energy player rather than having the ability to play all the multiple positions there that Sirenen does, covering both backs and forwards. So 50-50 call for me. I'd love to say at the end of the game, man, Sirenen's a must keep. The impact he has is great, but at the moment I think he's a solid player, but he's definitely not a game changer coming off the bench. Jazz Tavanga, my man. Jazz Nut. Hope there's a few other people turn up at the ground with the Jazz Nut and the tape this weekend after the stand that I set there the other day in the post-match review. Mate, I've always been a fan. I think he showed some pretty good composure on the weekend, not giving away too many silly penalties, maybe just one or two there of ruck infringements, but I think that's far from just him. I think it's the policy we've got to try and hold them down in that play of the ball, push the limits. But that combination, him and Dylan Walker, like I said in the post-game, they look like best mates, playing park footy, how you smash each other in a team tackle, we patting each other on the back, probably giving each other a bit of stick about who did what. And it rubs off on the footy they play. nothing better than seeing guys really enjoying themselves. And I think that's a reflection across the Warriors at the moment. He's up against Jaden Tanner, who's only 2 games in. Only 3 hit-ups in the couple of games he's played, the 2 games he's played this year. So I'm giving that to Jazz all day. Then we've got Tom Ali against Whanoa Brown. 10 games so far for Ali. 3 games in a row this season. 100% tackle efficiency. That's a pretty good stat to have from him there. Whanoa Brown, 50 games in, 3 this season. He's making about 70 metres off the bench. We saw Tom Ali shoot over 120 last week and some massive post-contact metres off the bench. Probably the biggest minutes he's played this year. I like the guy. I think he's going to be a very solid bench prop for us, and I think he'll actually eventually make it into the starting lineup there. Probably not this season, barring injuries, but long term. He's a starting prop for me, so I'm going to give the edge to purely on intensity there to Ali. So overall, I think we win the bench battle like we have done in pretty much most of our games this year, in my personal opinion. I won't get into the reserves. What I'd like to do is look at a couple of the, my take on here. Like I've said before, I'm an average hacker fan. I've got no real idea about the true fundamentals of footy, so I rely on a little bit of these stats to give an indicator on things that I perhaps don't see. Home advantage, first game at Mt Smart for the year. I'd hope we're very close to being sold out. Haven't had a chance to check out the weather conditions yet, but 20,000 screaming Warriors fans who haven't seen footy for close to 6 months now. Like I'd said, I'd love to see a whole bunch of Jazz nuts out there. It's got to be worth 6 or 8 points to us. So that's a big advantage for me. Watching the Bulldogs so far this season, coming into the year, I was thinking, man, it kind of pisses me off when they've spent so much money getting all these top players. You wonder how they've done it. But I think you're kind of seeing that there's still a bunch of individual stars struggling to find a true team cohesiveness. Gus Gould posts a lot of S&S stuff about the boys, all their inclusiveness and loving it, but they just look like a team of individuals that are in the process of building some combinations in their positions versus us playing as a whole squad of 17 players every week. No one's letting the ball, letting us down. Our worst effort this year is probably matching some of our best efforts last year. Some complaints about Bunty's maybe effort. I don't think he's lacking effort. Maybe the performance isn't quite there, but team cohesiveness, playing for 80 minutes, tackling as a whole team, watching the tries that they let in against the Tigers. They left some massive holes there. Their combinations are not as good as ours. Their scrambling, their hunger doesn't appear to be there. What swings it potentially in their flavour, again, is like we had last week, is individual X factor. The Fox, one of the best wingers we've seen in recent history. His passion and energy, you saw the difference not having him in the New South Wales team last year. He brings massive energy. Give him a sniff and he's gone. Kickout, he's bringing in 2 or 3 guys to defend him every time he's running the ball, that if he can offload, creates massive space both inside and outside him, which I think the one combination they have got there really well is on that left-hand side. So Burton, again, if he gets himself in a bit of a mood and gets that kicking going, who knows? I'd really hate to see it come down to the bounce of the ball or, referee's call. I'd just love to see it come down to genuine performance. I think when we looked at the tries we conceded last week, they were bounce of the ball, unlucky. Other than those bounces of the ball, I don't think we looked close to letting the Cowboys score. A bit of that's reflective on their haphazard attack that they had, but I think their attack is looking very similar to the Bulldogs in that they're throwing the ball around a bit willy-nilly. A lot of random offloads there. What gets us home, I feel, is just that really hard, direct, fundamental footy on attack, earning the right to spin it wide, those subtle little hands between the forwards and the halves, like putting guys through the breaks, putting through guys through the gap, and just scrambling for each other on defence and intensity, speed of that line. Mate, we're coming from playing 2 rounds in a row in the high 30 or mid 30 degrees, coming home to probably playing in about 17. Fitness is not going to be a problem for us. So I'm going to call this confidence. I'm not going to be arrogant about this. I will be disappointed if we play 80 minutes of football, barring a couple of those unlucky bounces. You know, the Bulldogs have had quite quick starts to all of their games, but they've been pegged back quickly. If we can hold them off getting that quick start, those like quick couple of tries that we're fighting back, if we can hold that line through the first 20 minutes and then start to accelerate, I would genuinely like to see us put 25 plus points on them, and I don't want to see more than 12 points put on us. That's, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to hold these guys out, have a massive finish, show the Mt Smart faithful what we're going to play this year, and have that place packed out every week. So that's it for me, guys. I just want to repeat last week, 80 minutes, in your face, hard-nosed footy, love and passion for holding on to that ball and not wasting, no silly mistakes. The Warriors, 25-12, comfortable win, lead from the front. Let's go. Mighty Warriors, all in for 2023.